The current situation with CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk 2077 seems to be getting worse day by day. Every day there's something new. And I was really on the fence on whether or not I was going to be talking about this whole situation, but it's really gotten so bad that Sony has delisted the game from the PlayStation Store. It's that bad. They delisted the game last night, and then they're also offering refunds, which I just requested my refund. As you can see, I will leave a link in the description to all the articles that I bring up in this video, and even the link to where you can get a refund. And I'm pretty sure Xbox is going to be offering refunds too. They're going to have to at this point, because if they don't, then they're going to look bad. It's just going to look bad on them. And it like, this whole situation looks bad on Xbox, mainly because they had a marketing deal with Cyberpunk 2077 and CD Projekt Red. So this whole situation, after with how good Xbox has been doing, like, it's kind of bad. It's kind of sad to see on their point that they got to take an L because of CD Projekt Red and their negligence. And speaking of negligence, right? So there were some articles that my friend and fellow YouTuber REXSPARX, he gave me a few articles to read over and kind of look over a bit of information, and I'll leave a link in the description for all of that. But so for those of y'all that don't know, because there's a lot to kind of cover in this video, there's a lot that came out. Like I said, every day there's something new in regards to this game. So I kind of want to start with the statement that Cyberpunk 2077 that CD Projekt Red put out for this game. So for those of y'all that might have not been, if you were somebody that has not been following this whole situation, essentially with the Cyberpunk 2077 reviews, when we got the first initial reviews, those reviews were just stuff, the PC reviews. And I did a video when the reviews came out, when the PC reviews came out, and those reviews were, for the most part, a lot of them were positive reviews. It got, I want to say it had a 91 on Metacritic, but for those reviews, they didn't show any gameplay. They showed, the stuff that they showed was basically B-roll footage. They wouldn't allow the reviewers to actually show the PS4 and Xbox One versions of the game. They wouldn't even let them show, like, the reviewers had to show only B-roll footage, which is very strange and kind of unprecedented for a review. Usually they would just allow them to use the footage that they recorded. And so CD Projekt Red, they issued this statement basically saying that they apologize for the fact that they didn't allow the reviewers to show off the base consoles, the last gen console versions of the game. And for those of y'all that don't know, those last gen console versions, so the Xbox One and PS4 versions, those versions run the worst out of any of the versions that are available. And there are several versions of the game available. Of course, you have the PC version, the next gen. The next gen patch isn't out yet, but you can play it on next gen, and it does run a lot better. However, I would say, based on what I've heard online, in regards to people's experiences playing this game, and what I've heard firsthand from friends and family, this game, no matter what you play it on, it's buggy. You got cars freaking flying out of nowhere, textures popping in, and sometimes the textures don't pop in at all on characters' bodies and faces and crap. You got multiple game crashes. I've been hearing people say that the game has crashed multiple times. In terms of my experience with the game, I haven't played it that much. Like, this has to be the first, I want to say this is the first person shooter sort of RPG thing that has made my head hurt. Literally because of the frame rate of this game. And I should mention that I played this game on a base PS4. I know what you're thinking. God bless his soul. You actually played on a last gen console, but I played this thing on the PS4 and it was not, bro. When I say that this frame rate, and I should mention I'm not somebody that knows all that technical stuff, but when I say that the frame rate was very low on this thing and that the game was chugging along, I'm not exaggerating. People are not exaggerating in regards to their experiences with the game. And I know there are people out there that are trying to defend CD Projekt Red, that are trying to say that, oh, you guys should have known that this was going to be an issue. You guys should have got a PC to play this game. You guys should have bought a PS5 and an Xbox Series X to play this. But people don't realize, there are some people that just don't realize that some people might not have the capital, they might not have the disposable income in order to get a PS5 or a new graphics card or CPU or whatever to play it on PC. Some people might not realize that B, it's hard to even get a PS5 and an Xbox Series X at this point because of the whole scalper situation. So I don't want to really hear any of this. I'm so sick and tired of the people that are damage controlling for CD Projekt Red. Because here's the thing, I've always been hearing over the past few years, I'll hear people refer to CD Projekt Red as CD Projekt Gods or whatever. And this whole situation just brings to mind that Batman, that Dark Knight quote. They lived long enough to see themselves turn into the villains. They have really, the turnaround from people praising and loving CD Projekt Red to how it is now, where they have really lost the trust of gamers. And I'm saying all this to say that, things are not looking good for this company. As you can see here, CD Projekt Red, they lost $1 billion at the launch. Now, this game, now to be fair, they have broken even. They have already broken even. They've already made up the cost of the game. So everything from here on out is basically profit. But given the fact that Sony is offering refunds and that other people are getting refunds, even people are contacting GameStop and other retailers and trying to get a refund for their physical copies, yeah, they're going to be losing money. And they've already lost money. Investors are dropping off. They lost what? I think it was 30% of their stock or something like that. They were worth $8 billion and then they just went down $1 billion. If I'm remembering correctly here. But yeah, they lost $1 billion. They losing money. And investors are not happy. And the gamers aren't happy. And another thing I need to bring up, because I talked about the fact that I did a review, well, not a review. I did a video on the Metacritic, on the fact that the Metacritic score for the PC version, it was a 91 or something like that. Glowing reviews. Well, we look at the PS4 version of the game, which is arguably the worst version of this game. Stadia of all the platforms. Stadia seems to be the best way, or one of the best ways to play the game. This is a major W for Google. This is a major W for Google because people, before the Cyberpunk situation, nobody cared about this. Everybody and their mama did not care about Stadia. But now I can see a lot of people going out, and the thing is, they were giving away Stadia. They were practically giving it away, and it was very cheap to obtain. This is probably going to help Stadia so much. But if you look at these reviews, man, especially the user reviews. Now here's the thing, I don't put stock in these user reviews, because every time somebody gets mad, anytime a group of individuals get mad at a game studio, for instance, let's just say Naughty Dog with The Last of Us Part 2, or Pokemon Sword and Shield with Game Freak. anytime these people get mad, they always put up these reviews. The game might not even be out. They'll put a review out, knowing that some of these people haven't even played the game. Some of them might watch something on YouTube and then just put a review there. I don't put stock in a lot of these user reviews, but if you go down, there are people giving the game 0s and 1s and 4s. You know, people doing the standard review bombing, which I think is completely stupid. I think that's dumb. If you're going to write a review, at least give it a fair review. You have extreme reviews like this where people are giving it like 10s and 9s, and we know that it doesn't deserve. We know that the game doesn't deserve a 10 or a 9, and then you have the 0s and 1s and probably 4s and stuff. If I click here, I'll probably see some 4s and 5s. A lot of these reviews you can't take stock in. You can't really take stock in a lot of these user reviews. See, as I'm scrolling down, 1s and 0s and 2s, a lot of 0s, and we know this game, regardless, it's not a 1, it's not a 0. At the very least, you can say maybe it's like a 5, because from what I've heard, the story, and my friend did a review on this. I'll actually leave a link in the description, so you guys can check out his review of Cyberpunk 2077. But from what I've heard, after listening to his review and other reviews, the content itself, when it works, like the story is good. I think that's like the main point that I've heard is like the story is good, and pretty much I want to say the city itself, like they delivered on certain points, but then a lot of stuff they overpromised, and we'll kind of get into that. But I just want to go ahead and just bring up the fact that like these Critic reviews, right? Like the GameSpot review, no, it wasn't a GameSpot review. It was the IGN review. Gave it a 4, I believe a 4 out of 10 or 5 out of 10, something like that. But just to read off one of these reviews, just to show you, just to kind of give you a taste of what people are saying as in regards to one of these outlets, right? Cyberpunk 2077 is broken on last gen consoles. That doesn't mean you can't see the finer details of the game, but you simply cannot enjoy them because of that brokenness. Where the game succeeds in its story, beautiful RPG elements, and a strong amount of customization that makes it feel like your game and story. At the same time, Cyberpunk isn't unique, as the game feels like an amalgamation of Fallout and Blade Runner. Ultimately, aside from the game-breaking bugs, the game has good aspects that could have been great with a little bit more time in development. And that's kind of what I'm getting with this. I said in my video that I did a few weeks ago or a week ago that essentially I was kind of getting Fallout New Vegas vibes from this, in that when Fallout New Vegas launched, it was buggy. It had issues, but it's still regarded to this day, especially after they fixed a lot of stuff, it's still regarded to this day as one of the best Western RPGs of all time. It's one of my favorite games of all time. But the thing with Cyberpunk 2077, like, it seems to be so much worse than a lot of the other examples that people can bring up. Like, people can compare this. We can compare this game to a Bethesda game, but keep in mind, a lot of the Bethesda games, like, we already know, like, Bethesda games are always buggy. Skyrim and Fallout especially. But even those games have never been, from my knowledge, they haven't been delisted from the PlayStation Store. It hasn't gotten so bad with a Bethesda game, or you can even say a EA game, because people love to hate EA. People love to hate Activision with, like, Call of Duty. You can hate all of these games, but one thing we can say is that those games have not been delisted. Those games, Sony and Microsoft and all these other companies, they haven't had to offer refunds for those games. The quality of those games haven't been so terrible that they had to offer refunds, that people are demanding refunds for those games. It hasn't been that bad. The Avengers game, a lot of people A lot of people talk smack about that. And the game didn't come out as good as it should have been, but we didn't have to get a refund a lot. Like, people weren't asking for refunds for the game. The game wasn't, like, there wasn't as many issues with that game as there is with Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk came out as the most buggy, it really came out as the most incomplete product here. And it really feels like CD Projekt Red were overly ambitious. In one of the articles that my friend sent me, and like I said, links in the description to all this, it talks about the Lifepaths. And for those of you that don't know, there was actually supposed to be more than 3 Lifepaths. There was actually supposed to be more than 3 Lifepaths. You can actually look that up. It was actually the Lifepaths that you see, that you get to play in the game. They're actually supposed to be longer than that 20-minute intro segment that you get in the beginning. And actually, the inconsequential dialogue options that basically ended up being in the game, it was supposed to be a lot more. They promised that this game, CD Projekt Red, they promised that your choices mattered. But, and I should say, like I mentioned before, I had not played a lot of the game. Like, I played maybe 3 hours, man. But I couldn't take it. And it honestly seemed like the choices that I made, it didn't really seem like it mattered. And I know I didn't play a lot of the game, but that's kind of the feeling that I had playing the game. And I was just underwhelmed. And in terms of my experience with the game, I was very underwhelmed with it. Honestly, I felt like they just didn't show a lot. It was kind of strange that they didn't show not only just the base versions of the last gen consoles, but it was like the whole rollout with Cyberpunk is just been kind of weird. The whole development situation, everything, it's been weird. Because I bought the game, I get to play in it, I find out it's kind of a looter shooter. I find out that it's kind of more like Borderlands, where you're picking up like rare guns, like purple guns and green guns and stuff like that. I didn't even know it was going to be like that. Like, I knew that it was going to be an RPG first and foremost, but a lot of the marketing kind of made it seem like it was going to be this sort of Deus Ex meets Grand Theft Auto. CD Projekt Red really got people hyped up with all of the stuff that they had promised, man. Like I mentioned before with the Lifepaths and the fact that they promised us all these Lifepaths and that our choices was going to matter, and it really didn't. They promised us NPCs. They promised us unique AIs and unique NPCs. And yeah, that turned out to not be the case with this. They said that the NPCs were going to have these unique daily routines, that they were gonna have over 1,000 different NPCs, and that the city was gonna be really rich and stuff. And like it really wasn't. The NPCs, they disappear and they transform into other generic NPCs when players just move away for a few seconds. They even and the police system. The police system is nothing like they said that it was going to be. They said that you were going to be able to like bribe the police, and that there was going to be this very unique wanted system, that the police was going to be corrupt. Like I said, you can take bribes and stuff, but yeah, the police just materialize out of thin air. And I've seen this. I've seen Angry Joe's video. I've seen other people's videos, and I've experienced this myself in the game when I accidentally threw a grenade into a crowd of people. The freaking police, they'll teleport to your location and just start firing on you. The police. So like I said, police system isn't that great. The AI that they promised, the unique AI and NPCs that they promised, the character creator. Ooh boy, that character creator. For all of the headlines that we got about the character creation in this game. Oh, you can change the size of your junk and all this other bullcrap. Instead of wasting time on frivolous, meaningless, stupid crap like changing people's junk size and your fingernail size. all this minute detail, all this small fine-tuned detail, right? You got all of that, and first of all, the game is in first person, so it doesn't freaking matter about your character's appearance, because you're not going to see him unless you look at a mirror, unless you're like looking at a mirror, or you're like in a cutscene or whatever. So the character customization is pointless, and even so, the character customization itself is very bare bones. It's not that great. You can't even change the height, the weight of your character, the age of your character, the musculature of the character. And bro, the shades, people, the shades that they give you for the character's skin tone. What is with these developers? Like, bro, I can't even make a black person properly in this. It was to the point where I was looking at the character creator, and I did a video kind of showing off all the options, or most of the options, because I didn't show the jump slider. But yeah, I just felt like, well, there's no point in me really trying to like make somebody unique, because it's kind of hard to do that. So let me just kind of go with the defaults. So like the character customization was terrible. Of course, we all know about. Oh yeah, I believe oh no. So I didn't mention this earlier when I talked about the fact that CDPR, they put out this statement. I mentioned this earlier, but what I didn't mention is the fact that in a conference call, they lied and said that the game was running well on older gen consoles. They lied. It was November. I can't remember which week in November, but it was in November. They said, and quote, "So we believe that the game is performing great on every platform." They're a bunch of liars. And we gotta hold CD Projekt Red to the same standard that we would hold EA and Activision and Ubisoft. Like if we're going to trash Ubisoft for like their Assassin's Creed, and then when Assassin's Creed has bugs and stuff, just to give a quick example, Unity, when Unity had those bugs and stuff, and when we love the clown studios like I believe it was Ukes, the studio that does the WWE games, and when you guys saw that game and it was buggy and glitchy and everything was going on with that wrestling game. When we love to clown these other studios, we gotta do the same thing with CD Projekt Red. We gotta be hard on CD Projekt Red, and we're gonna be hard on companies like EA and stuff. So yeah. But just to give you guys two more of these reviews, and then I'll kind of move on to talking about something else. So just to give you two more of these reviews for the PS4 version of Cyberpunk. Gaming Bolt. Contrary to expectations, Cyberpunk 2077 is not going to set the world on fire. It's not the gaming revolution that was promised to us, but it's still a fun RPG with plenty of room for improvement. And then we have Hobby Consoles. I've never even heard of these guys. They gave it a 55. Cyberpunk 2077 for PS4 reminds us of the game we played. What? Okay. Cyberpunk 2077 for PS4 reminds us of the game we played on PC, but it's full of glitches, the frame rate is poor, the resolution is too low. Eventually, it can become a great RPG, but for right now, it's a mediocre game that doesn't live up to the expectations. Cyberpunk, and then this is just one more from GRY Online. Cyberpunk 2077 on PS4 is a disaster that should have never occurred. The developers have butchered the technical conditions of the game. The only positive thing about the PS4 version is that you can, with a bit of luck and patience, eventually finish it. There's no doubt that CD Projekt Red will have to redeem itself somehow, but remember, somewhere underneath the utter myriad of bugs hides an excellent game. So here's another thing I need to bring up, because people, like I mentioned before, there are people out there damage controlling for this game, talking about that we don't need to be getting refunds, that people shouldn't get refunds, that we need to trust CD Projekt Red because this has happened before with The Witcher. The Witcher had its bugs and its issues, and they ironed it out. This game is gonna be great sooner or later. Yeah, well, here's the thing, man. I can't speak to Witcher because I didn't play The Witcher. I've heard great things throughout the years about The Witcher 3. People like the Witcher series is what basically gave CDPR their clout with gamers and stuff. That and their stance on piracy, and just like they garnered a lot of goodwill with gamers, man. They have over the years. And the thing is, going into Cyberpunk 2077, this is my first game from CD Projekt Red. This is a bad first impression, just with the game itself, with what the developer has done with this game, with the rollout of this game, and their decisions that they have made. This has been a very bad first impression for me, trying to jump on the CD Projekt Red Cyberpunk, bandwagon. After this, I'm very skeptical of this company. I have not played The Witcher, so I don't have the same connection that other gamers have to this company. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know about these guys. I don't know. I don't know about this developer. But there's one more thing that I wanted to mention in regards to the Metacritic, like the Open Critic, the aggregate review sites. So Open Critic, they issued a warning message, and I'm not sure if it's still. Let me see if it's still up. It might be still up. I'm thinking it's still up. At first I thought it was Metacritic. It's Open Critic. So Open Critic, they issued this warning in regards to the PS4 and the Xbox One versions. This game has significant disparities in performance, player experience, and review scores between the PC, next-gen consoles, Xbox One, and PS4 versions. The Open Critic team and several critics suspect that developer CD Projekt Red intentionally sought to hide the true state of the game on Xbox One and PS4 with requirements such as only allowing pre-rendered game footage and reviews and not issuing review copies for PS4 and Xbox One versions. This notice will be taken down February 2021. And here's the thing with that. So if we go back to this, they talked about the fact that a patch is coming. A patch is going to be coming in January, and then another patch is going to be coming in February. And those patches should fix a lot of the problems in the game. They've already sent out several patches. We got the day 1 patch, we got another patch. There was like a day 0 patch, and then we got another patch after that. This game, the size of this game is very massive, by the way. For those of y'all who haven't bought the game, the size of this game is very massive now. It literally took up most of my hard drive. I think there was one other thing that I wanted to talk about in regards to this. Okay, so we talked about the refunds and stuff that's gonna be going on with Sony. That was the big thing that came out last night. And like I said before, I'm definitely getting my refund. Ain't no point of playing this buggy game that's crashing on people, that's not living up to the hype. It's unfortunate what's happening with CD Projekt Red. It's unfortunate that a lot of people were hyped for this game, and now we either have to suffer through the bugs, or we have to either suffer through the bugs and glitches and stuff, or just get our money back and spend it on something better at this point. All I can say is that I'm pretty sure after I'm done with this video, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be way more that comes out. Cause like I said, every day there seems to be something new in regards to this situation. And given all the delays that this game has gotten, this game got delayed, 4 times? The fact that people have brought up, and I totally forgot they did this. There was a video, I believe this is their first, It was either their reveal video. It was one of their older videos for Cyberpunk 2077. It said something like, coming soon. It was like coming, and then it was like, it's coming when it's ready. It's coming out when it's ready. They clearly lied to us because guess what? It wasn't ready. It's clear that this thing was not ready. Given the state of the game, given the current state of the game, this game was not ready. You got people out, you got characters out here T-posing and cars teleporting out of nowhere. Some of the quests breaking down on people to where they can't progress through the game crashing. Like, bro, the game was not ready. The game was not ready. Anyway, that's all I really got to say about this. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. This has been Fear No Hate. I'm out of here. Peace.